you're doing a bad job and nobody points it out to you, that's when they've given up on you.
Earth Rebirth is a non-profit organization that's focused around energy technology. Our hopes are to bridge a lot of the gaps between our environmental and economic problems, because we feel many of these problems have the same solutions and are often just misunderstood or unknown by the public. And if we could just make it more aware and spread the knowledge of how easily they can be implemented into society, then we can begin making the progress we need for the near future. There are 4 key issues we're trying to address. The first is land preservation. The United States only has 2% of its natural forests remaining, and our forests are much more valuable to us in their original state than they are in their processed state. They provide carbon sequestration, fresh water, seasonal cycles that provide various benefits to different species and vegetation. And if we could just restructure our economic system to appreciate nature rather than try and dominate it, we could realize how much more efficient our processes could be. The second focus we plan to try and address is land restoration. We plan to try and revive a lot of the natural areas we've destroyed, and there's been a lot of breakthroughs and research done on how we can do this. There's been trees developed that can pull pollutants out of soils of area that's become marginal and uninhabitable or unusable. And by trying to restore a lot of the areas that we've destroyed, we can restructure the environment to benefit nature and humanity. The third focus we're trying to address is sustainable energy. Everybody knows that we are dependent on fossil fuels, and there are many solutions to getting us off that dependency, from solar, wind, wave energy, recent breakthroughs in vibration energy that could be used in major public areas like stadiums or train stations to produce electricity. But the main focus is we need to begin implementing a lot of these alternative technologies into the grid to optimize the production of electricity, because the longer we wait and the longer we rely on fossil fuels, the larger the effects are going to be on society when we begin to run out completely. The fourth focus we plan to address is sustainable fuel. We've already addressed that oil and natural gas won't be able to meet those needs. So what fuels can we use? Well, electric cars are already making high demand, but we cannot put all of the pressure of our transportation system on the electric grid. There's not enough power being produced at this moment, and probably won't be in the future, considering we're having trouble doing that as well. Hydrogen cars are way down the future. You can't create a hydrogen car for less than $1 million at this point. There's several problems wrong with it, and it's just too expensive and impractical. Biofuels have been a main controversy, and it's disappointing because there's so many different varieties of biofuels that I don't understand why they would be categorized all with the same negatives and positives. The first generation of biofuels was food crops. Corn and soy were the main ones, and they were used to produce ethanol and biodiesel for diesel engine and gasoline engines. A lot of environmental groups argued that this would cut into the food supply and it would cause us to starve, and quickly solutions were created to solve these problems, and they have been quickly overlooked. Algae is the fastest growing organism on the planet. It can reproduce thousands of times its original amount in days. You can go from a flask to an industrial sized container in a matter of 3 days. This is a source that is renewable. It is what oil was created from originally, and it can be created in a fraction of the time it took millions of years for fossil fuels to be developed. Recently, third generation biofuels began being developed that we can utilize food oils and animal waste, things that we spend millions of dollars getting rid of each year. These are the type of fuels we need to be trying to optimize. There's not one source that's going to replace fossil fuels. Fossil fuels were the most abundant resource on the planet, and it will be unmatched in human history forever.
What do you think of natural gas?
Natural gas is a joke. We cannot get off the dependency of fossil fuels with another fossil fuel. It is not renewable, and despite what companies tell you, it is not clean. 40% more clean than oil and coal is not clean. In order to make the changes we need to by 2050, we need to reduce our carbon emissions by 80%. We cannot do that with another fossil fuel. Why we would rely on doing the same thing that we have done for 150 years to correct a situation is insanity. The definition of insanity is to do the same action and expect a different result. That is what natural gas is. We organized a variety of park cleanups and fundraising events that allowed us to build some support, and we had some awareness events that allowed us to get our message across and begin delivering a purpose to the public. Recently, Earth Rebirth was approved to have regular public meetings at the University of Oklahoma every 2 weeks, where we can get a better understanding of what the public feels like we should be addressing, and we can get feedback on how to better develop our programs and ideas that we feel we want to focus on over the next year. Earth Rebirth is working on a variety of things right now. One of the most exciting is One Energy, a social network that allows users to buy, sell, or trade electricity and fuel with one another. It allows people to interact as a community, optimize resources, and have universal control over which resources they choose to use. Other things we're working on is we recently completed our tax-exempt application for the IRS, and we're currently waiting on approval, after which we will be able to do an assortment of fundraising activities and begin sales to benefit our programs. We're also working on our spring program development, which one of the ways we're doing so is attending the OU Roundtables, which is a program done by the University of Oklahoma Center for Entrepreneurship, where we can go present business pitches and concepts to experts and entrepreneurs who can give feedback and tips on how to further progress our ideas. And we're also working on several negotiations and proposals with certain partners to help begin developing some public campaigns to spread our message as well as partnering organizations. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is provide a sustainable future for further generations and preserve the natural world and quality of life that older generations have been privileged enough to live through and experience. There is infinite energy provided in nature, and if we can just learn to utilize, appreciate, and optimize that energy, then we can have infinite abundance and growth in the progression of society, our economy, and our technology. As the most advanced organism on the planet, it's our responsibility to foster a sustainable future and provide the necessary needs and requirements for the quality and diversity of life to continue. And if we can make the right decisions to preserve the environment and preserve our culture and economy, then it's up to us whether we want to create a future that's filled with hope or a future that's filled with regret and suffering. Make sure you support us by going to earthrebirthnow.com or liking us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.